Okay, that's just bad rap. Sorry. Here now, Byron York, Fox News contributor, and Yemisi Egbawali, former chief of staff in the White House press office under Biden. Yemisi, it's good to see you. We'll start with you. The Democrats, look, they want to get back in power next year. But this kind of messaging, how does it work to advance their argument that we need to, quote, improve the economy?
I mean, looking even at Gavin Newsom, he's trying to nationalize California policies. And what Democrats are really going to have to learn is we have to focus on what the middle wants. The moderate portion of the party is the part of the party that isn't the loudest, but it is the one that actually sways voters. We know that suburban voters are the ones that determine elections. And so when we say things like, oh, we want to see more trans kids, when we know that the majority of voters do not care about trans issues, do not care about these ideological arguments, do not care about culture wars.
I think they do care. I think if they do care, they do care about trans athletes not being in sport.
Not as the leading thing that they vote about.
No,
I think the economy is going to be the driver for 2026 and 2028. And Newsom's going to have to find that way to balance, like you said, talking about ways that appease to his base, which is the coastal California liberal, but also to folks that exist where I'm from, down in Georgia, where that's just not their main concern.
Yeah, Byron, it's a very interesting point Yemisi makes, because the country is not where California is on most issues. I don't think. They might not like Trump's tone, and they might not like some of the stuff he does, but they don't want that either. So where does this put the Democrats?
Well, I think right now they're orienting themselves completely in relation to Trump. They have Trump opposite syndrome. So Trump says build a wall, and they say open the borders. And Trump says, well, let's crack down on crime in D.C. And they say, don't touch our crime. We want our crime. And so now when Trump says, well, you've got this huge scandal in Minnesota, and a preponderance majority of the defendants are from Somalia, Tim Walz comes out and says, let's have more people from Somalia. That's what we want. So I think they're orienting themselves entirely as the opposite of Donald Trump.
Yemisi, New York City's comptroller, a guy named Brad Lander, is trying to take out Congressman Dan Goldman in a primary next year, I saw. Here's part of that ad.
When ICE agents started kidnapping our neighbors, I fought back.
Keep fighting, Brad.
Take a look at this video. It's Brad Lander being arrested by ICE.
While our neighbors are being demonized and attacked, we can put our bodies on the line to protect them. New York is for everyone.
Well, does he want to see New York hotels filled up with these migrants on the scooters, stealing stuff from people? I mean, I don't get that. I think they're trying to all be like AOC, who's really good at social media, and she has kind of a way of mixing in with people, and for a lot of New Yorkers, that really is appealing. But what about that?
I think Congressman Dan Goldman has done a great job in Congress. And when people ask, well, what is Dan Goldman doing? Well, he's working every single day. And what he's not doing,
what is he doing?
What he's not doing is pushing for virality on social media. And Brad Lander has extended his time, which I consider 15 minutes. After Zohran beat him, I really thought he'd get out of the way. But he's extended his time by replaying the same clip again and again of him interrupting ICE agents. Look, people in New York care about more than just immigration issues, right? There's stuff outside of what's happening with ICE currently that affects New Yorkers, maybe the cost of living for one. And so Brad Lander can attack sitting members of Congress, and he can also push forth his one moment of fame. But I don't think it's actually going to drive him over the top here.
Yeah, Democrats, I think, again, are going to struggle in the age post-Trump. There's an argument of what happens to MAGA after Trump, and we're going to be addressing that. But this idea that you're going to just continue to have Trump, you can't do it.
Yeah, and
it doesn't connect. I don't think it connects anymore.
This is a particularly pernicious thing because you have the mayor talking about sanctuary city policies in New York, which is, the authorities, the local authorities, are not obligated to assist ICE in what ICE is doing. On the other hand, they cannot obstruct federal law enforcement. But I think the message they're sending in is permission to people, citizens in New York, to block ICE, to obstruct federal law enforcement, if at all possible. This is a terrible message to be sent, and it's going to have bad results as ICE keeps enforcing the law.
Byron and Yemisi, great to see you both. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.